Good morning, everybody. My name is Sharon Rich. I'm going to be your host today. And we have a large crowd today, over 100 people that have signed up for the meeting today. So thank you all for your interest and for attending today. We'll give it just about one more minute. We just let everybody in, and then we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. All right, good morning again. My name is Sharon Rich. I'm the Senior Trust Advisor with AGED. Today we are going to be talking about the Home and Community-Based Services Program for long-term care, which is going to, mainly talk about the program for the that helps with assisted living and some other benefits. That is the focus for today. We do monthly webinars. Next month, we're going to be talking about the skilled nursing facility, the ICP long-term care program. So there's differences in those programs. I have as a speaker with us today, Tracy O'Neill Spencer. She is AGED's benefits specialist. We here at AGED manage special needs trust. So all of our clients are either disabled or are seniors with a lot of medical conditions, and they want to qualify for Medicaid. So we live and breathe Medicaid here at our office because all of our clients are on some sort of Medicaid. A special needs trust is a way to qualify for Medicaid when you have a little bit too much money, whether it's too much income or assets. And there's no limit, so it doesn't have to be small amounts. So I would just have a couple housekeeping issues for you. I am going to ask you to hold your questions until the end. We will allow time to go through the chat questions, or you can raise your hand at that time. We'll open it up for questions. We do have continuing ed for attorneys, professional guardians, and our waiver support coordinators. So you will, we ask the guardians to make sure that you give us your OPPG number so that we can input those credits to you, to the CE broker. And for everybody else, you'll be receiving a certificate of attendance so that you can self-report. So thank you once again for joining us. Our topics. So this slide is kind of a summary of who often needs Medicaid benefits. So there's lots of different Medicaid programs out there. The people that can't afford their medications and co-pays, we do a lot with QMB Medicaid, and I've done programs on that particular benefit. Nursing home and assisted living residents. Today we're going to focus on the assisted living segment. People who can no longer work because of a disability are often on like Social Security disability benefits and need Medicaid, and your developmentally disabled adults. So we deal with all kinds of individuals that need Medicaid. This is your age and disabled Medicaid, not your family Medicaid. Our topics today are the Home and Community-Based Services Long-Term Care Program. A lot of you know the program basically as a waiver program, but the Home and Community-Based actually has many different waivers inside of it. We're going to talk about how to apply for the long-term care program and the wait list. Medicaid managed care. So in Florida, Medicaid went to a managed care system several years ago, and Tracy is going to take us through how that works and some of the different plans and benefits that are under the managed care. I am just going to spend a couple minutes going through a pooled trust and what that is, and why it is sometimes used to qualify for Medicaid benefits when someone is over the income or the asset limit. So please note that we are not attorneys, and we're providing this training to you for informational purposes. It is not intended to be legal advice. So please always consult with an attorney if you've got, questions and someone's got quite a bit of money. All right, so Tracy, I'm going to turn it over to you. Thank you for helping us out today to go through these programs.
Okay, good morning. I am just going to start with the long-term care programs that are considered under the institutional care policy, which the programs are ICP, or nursing home Medicaid, as most people call it, hospice. And most people say home and community-based services waiver when they're talking about waiver at home or in an ALF. And as Sharon said, there are actually several different waiver programs that fall under the home and community-based services waivers. The familial dysautonomia waiver, iBudget, model waiver, and then the statewide managed Medicaid managed care, long-term care, which is what we're going to focus on today. So home and community-based services are supposed to reduce institutionalization by allowing people to live in their house or in the community, say in an assisted living facility. You must meet the nursing home level of care, which is determined by Heirs, and it's when you can't perform such things as feeding yourself, dressing, your personal hygiene, toileting, or your IDLs like financial management, medication management, but also things like behavioral issues, like people that wander or people that get lost. And it's any combination of those things. I think some states have them where you have to have a minimum of 3 or 4, but I think here it's just based on the assessments and the combination of those things for them determining you to need that nursing home level of care. You must be 65 plus, blind, or disabled between 18 and 64. And the program has limited funding. It's capitated, which means there's one pool of money, and this is for the whole state. And there are roughly 40 to 50,000 people that are trying to get on this program. Therefore, there's a wait list. That's all those people for all of the programs. It's that all of the home and community-based services programs are on waiting to use this pool of money. So while you're on the wait list, you may qualify for Medicaid, such as Meds-AD or QMB, to cover your medical services and reduce your medical costs and prescription costs. Next slide, please. So the dreaded wait list. We get a lot of people that come in, they think oh, mom needs an assisted living facility or she needs services at home. Let's just sign up for Medicaid and get those services. No, you have to be on the wait list in order to be released from the wait list and get services. So all those people have to wait for that same pool of money. The process is you do a screening. You call the local Florida area agency on aging office, and that is like Senior Resource Alliance, Senior Connection, Elder Source, whatever area you're in for your counties. It's that agency that handles your counties. You'd call them, request to be put on the wait list. Someone will call you and do a telephone interview, and the interview takes about 40 minutes. And from that interview, you get a priority score. And that priority score determines whether or not you get on the wait list. If it's, I believe right now, if it's below a 2 or a 3, you're not even put on the wait list. And then you basically wait. You're waiting for funding to be available. You're waiting for funding to be released. They only release a certain amount of money at a time. So that means only a certain amount of people can get off the wait list at a time. And the Department of Elder Affairs pulls the names from the wait list based on that priority score that you were given when you did that interview. If by chance you have some significant change to your circumstances in your ADLs, say somebody has a stroke or something like that, call those people that you contacted initially. You should have a contact person. Call them and request to have a reassessment. And that way they can basically rescore you so that you will move up on the wait list. Once you're released from the wait list, there's a form that has to be signed. It's a 3008 form. It's a, I believe it's a state form that has to be signed by a physician or a physician's assistant or registered nurse, but it has to be a medical professional that signs it. And at that time, once you're released, in conjunction with getting that 3008 filled out, you can then apply for Medicaid. If you apply for Medicaid and you have not been put on the wait list, if you have not been released from the wait list, you will be denied because they need that 3008, they need that CARES assessment in order to complete the process for waiver. Next slide, please. So how do you apply for Medicaid? DCF, Department of Children and Families, determines the financial eligibility. So CARES, the Department of Elder Affairs, does the medical piece. Department of Children and Families does the financial piece. And you can apply online, which is actually the easiest thing to do is to apply online. If you have a computer, if you don't have a computer, you can apply through a paper application by faxing it, or you can mail it in, or at one of the community partner sites. And if you go to the DCF website, they will have a list of the community partner sites available for your county. Make sure if you go to one of those sites, you call before going, because people don't work there full time to do Medicaid. They come in when they have appointments. And things you need for your application. You'll need your financial documents, income documents for all sources of income. And DCF goes by the gross income, not the net, not what you're getting from Social Security, the gross, what you're entitled to. You'll need bank statements, investment statements. If you have life insurance, you'll need a current cash value for that life insurance. If you have a burial contract, you need that contract to show them how much it's worth. And if it's worth a lot, then you will need to have it be irrevocable, which means you can't cash it in and get money. And they may require additional documents. They will send you a notice to tell you exactly what they need. So once approved by DCF, for the financial piece, you have to select a long-term care plan. And what exactly is a long-term care plan? Well, like Sharon said, it was 2013, Medicaid for the state of Florida went to a managed care system. And that system, that program is statewide Medicaid managed care. That has three parts. There's an MMA, which handles the medical, any of the medical services. The MMA plan covers that. Long-term care provides the long-term care services or helps pay for the nursing home or the assisted living facility, and a dental plan. So that's the three parts of that. And those are all services are handled through private companies. Nobody bills Medicaid directly, or should I say most services are not billed directly to Medicaid. They are billed through their two private plans like Humana, like Aetna, like Community Care. And those are private companies that are contracted with Medicaid to provide those services. Most people on Medicaid will get services through one or more of those plans. So everybody that has full Medicaid, family Medicaid, whatever kind of Medicaid, will get an MMA plan. Or if you have long-term care, if you're in a nursing home, you'll get a long-term care plan.
And Tracy, would you talk about the comprehensive plans a little bit?
I will talk about that on this slide that we're on. So all of the plans, the long-term care plans, the Medicaid, managed medical assistance plans are required to have minimum covered services. So all of them, whether it's Aetna, whether it's Humana, have to cover the same things. There are specialty plans for people that have HIV/AIDS, mental illness, children with chronic conditions, or child welfare. And those plans, the specialty plans, are designed to give people that have those special needs more services to help with that particular illness or services that they need. Plans have expanded benefits like over-the-counter, a stipend for over-the-counter benefits, or chiropractic care or acupuncture. And those things are designed to make you choose one over the other. But those are just extra benefits in addition to the required benefits. So anybody that has long-term care is typically covered by a comprehensive plan, which is the MMA plan, the medical, and the long-term care combined into one plan. And years ago when this first started, you could select a separate plan for the medical and a separate plan for the long-term care, but that was really confusing, and now it's just under a comprehensive plan. The plans vary by region, so depending on your county, you may have Humana available to you, you may not. It may be Molina. So you would have to check the statewide Medicaid managed care website to find out which plans are available in your area.
Right. And Tracy, what happens if someone doesn't pick a plan?
If you don't pick a plan, one will be selected for you. And if you decide that that plan is not working for whatever reason, they don't have the services you need, or you just don't like them, you can change the plan within 120 days.
Okay.
So these are some of the benefits that are available through the long-term care plan. And remember, these plans cover everybody with every kind of long-term care situation. So every one of these services may not apply to somebody that's in their home. They may not need some of these services, but they're available through this long-term care plan. Things like assistive care or medication administration, respite care. So all of these are the standard benefits for a long-term care plan. They are required to have, every plan is required to have these specific benefits available to people. And if you are living in an assisted living facility, the care, the payment that the plan makes to the facility is between $1,000 and $1,400 towards your care at the facility. And it depends on the contract the plan has with the facility, what exactly they will pay. Some of them will pay $1,000, some of them will pay $1,200. It just depends on their specific contract with that facility. The patient, though, is responsible to pay their room and board. So it's not where the waiver pays for everything. The person still has to pay something towards their room and board. And these are the standard medical benefits provided through the MMA plan. Again, these are provided for everybody that has Medicaid. So birth center doesn't really apply to somebody that's in an ALF, but these are the medical things that they have to cover through the MMA plan. And the dental plan. Dental plans are available for people, anybody that has an MMA plan gets a dental plan as well. If you are over the age of 21, the dental benefits are going to be limited to things that are medically necessary. Dental exams, dental x-rays, dentures, extractions, and exams are covered. Sedation, some things that may be covered, but you would have to check with the plan and get prior approval in order for those things to be covered. Next slide, please. Oh, okay. And once you're approved through DCF, we're going to step back a little bit. You will get a notice of case action. And those are issued by DCF to advise of your application or benefit status. If your application is pending, the notice of case action will request information to complete the processing of your application. If you have been approved, then the notice will say that you've been approved for Medicaid, and it will give you some information. And can you go to the next page, please? The next slide. There you go. So here are two different examples of what a notice of case action would look like. And if you notice, both of those say Medicaid. It doesn't say waiver. It doesn't say anything else. It doesn't say home and community based or anything. It just says Medicaid. So you have to know what program you applied for. And then the information looks to be a little bit confusing. But I just wanted to show you an example of what it can look like. Room and board rate for your facility is going to be based on that facility's Medicaid room and board rate. And they should have discussed that with you, or you should have asked for that, or you can ask for what that rate is before you enter, but it's based on the contract that you do with the facility.
So with, you know, when you're in an assisted living, what you owe the assisted living is calculated completely differently than if you were in a nursing home on Medicaid.
Right.
So it's not just based on your income less $130. It's based, like Tracy said, on the rate that the facility is charging. And then if Medicaid picks up some of that, great. And then you have to pay the rest. And they don't care how you pay it. If your income's not sufficient, right? You know, family members might have to contribute, that kind of thing. So.
Right. ICP has determines it's your income less $130 and any allowable expenses that DCF determines. They will subtract that. But for home and community-based services, it's a little bit different. So just know that it's not going to tell you exactly on the notice of case action necessarily what is owed to the facility. And this is did this in the old format for the old format for the chart. This tells you the income limit and the asset limit for home and community-based services waivers. It doesn't matter what waiver you're on. If it's a home and community-based services waiver, then the income limit for an individual is $2,523. The asset limit is $2,000. The couple income limit is $5,046, and the asset limit is $3,000. And you must meet the medical and financial requirements in order to qualify. So remember, I said you have to have that CARES assessment. You have to have the Department of Elder Affairs do the medical piece, and you have to have the DCF financial eligibility piece in order to qualify. There might be additional criteria based on the specific waiver type. For example, if you have iBudget waiver, then APD, or Agency for Persons with Disabilities, would have to, they submit a specific form to DCF in order for you to qualify for their specific waiver. And for any waiver program, there's an annual eligibility review required. I believe if you have SSI, then you don't have to do the financial eligibility review, but everybody else would have to do this, do the review annually. And now Sharon's going to talk about how you can qualify by using a pooled special needs trust or a special needs trust.
Thank you. Okay. So just a quick and dirty on special needs trust. This is one tool for qualifying for the Medicaid when you're over the income or the asset limit. Again, and a lot of our clients work with attorneys on what all their options are. We at AGID act as a trustee for these different types of special needs trust. A pooled trust, which is highlighted here in the yellow, is often used. We get forms in from attorneys from all over the state. Someone has gotten off the wait list and they still have too much money, you know, 20,000, 50,000, whatever the amount is. And the attorney is advising them that a trust can be used. There are multiple, trustees that manage pooled trusts throughout the state of Florida, 10 or 12, something like that. AGID is one of them. And so one of the rules about using a pooled trust is that you must be disabled in order to, qualify to use the trust. So if you are under 65, you are on SSI or SSDI benefits. So you've already applied to Social Security and gotten determined to be disabled. If you're 65 or older, we do have to advise to collect medical records and provide the medical records to DCF for a disability determination to be done. And so they're going to send it over to Department of Elder Affairs to review the medical records. So we're, we always pre-screen our clients. Basically, they're using the same definition that Social Security uses, which is, are you unable to work in substantial gainful activity for at least 12 months? So, our older clients, that need this help, need help with the activities of daily living, all of that, they're pretty much, going to qualify. I can't help someone that's still working in any kind of substantial, work. If someone's 72 or older and they have a medically determinable impairment, that impairment will be considered to be severe. So a pooled trust must be managed by a nonprofit organization. So we're a 501c3. Pay for things that government benefits do not pay for, as long as it's for the sole benefit of the beneficiary. So once money is in the trust, we use it to pay things for our disabled beneficiary. We have to be careful, though. We can't to follow the rules so that what we're paying out is for our beneficiary's sole benefit. We can't have them buy gifts for other people and things like that out of a pooled trust. So it's our job to make sure that, all our payments are proper, and we look out for our clients. So we're really trying to help protect our clients from, spending things on the wrong things sometimes. And Tracy and our other benefit specialists in our office will sometimes review medical bills that come in, and maybe the medical bill was not a proper bill, was not, should have been covered by Medicaid or Medicare, that kind of thing. So we make sure that we're not, spending our clients' money when it's not necessary. There is a rule at death. The federal rule is that you have to pay back Medicaid before any money goes to heirs. So not all trust companies allow you to name heirs. A trust can retain 100%, or they can allow you, to designate an estate or heirs or whatever. But before any money would go out after death, you have to pay Medicaid back. So I tell people that a pooled trust is really a vehicle to enhance the quality of life while someone is living, so they don't have to spend their money down to that $2,000 asset limit. We pay lots and lots of things out of a trust for somebody. We pay a lot of facility payments, rents, mortgages, utility bills, cell phone bills, guardianship services, legal services, care management services. Sometimes somebody's in a facility and they actually need extra care, art supplies, better wheelchairs, all sorts of things that really help our clients enhance our quality of life. So I like to just look at this visual. It's a great way to just get it in your mind, how a trust works. The client's income continues to go into their bank account, generally, their Social Securities, their pensions, etc. Their assets are in their bank account. They put the overage into the pooled trust. So if it's an asset, when you're trying to qualify, you got to put enough money to get you below that $2,000 limit for this program we're talking about today. And if it's income that's over that income limit, every month you have to transfer at a minimum that what you're over the limit by. A lot of clients just transfer from their checking into the trust, the full amount of their income, and then have us pay the facility for them. So the trust can be used in a variety of ways for a variety of things. We have a lot of videos on our website and do training on trust and everything. For more information on that, stay tuned or give us a call. So today we're gonna summarize and then look at our questions. We talked about home and community-based services and the long-term care program that is under that, those waivers. So, and I would just say nursing home Medicaid is, federally funded. The home and community-based services is called a waiver because the state has decided to add on these services. So that's why there's limited funding for them. The state has to additionally fund these, and there's just not enough money to go around, unfortunately, compared to the need. We talked about how to apply for home and community-based services and the waiting list, and then applying for through DCF for your financial eligibility determination. Once you get the call that says, now we have a spot for you. We talked about getting the benefits through the managed care, picking a plan, comprehensive plan generally, and getting your services through the plans. And then a little bit about a pooled trust as a tool to qualify when you're over the income or the asset limit. And again, remember, we're not attorneys, so we're not intending to provide legal advice here. We have some helpful websites to you that this presentation will be made available to you. And we're also going to post it to a YouTube site that we have for you so you can review it again. And I believe we send this out too in our follow-up to you when we send you your certificate of attendance. We can go ahead and include this presentation for you with all these websites. Statewide managed care here has information on the plans and which plans are available. I mean, you've got the ACA website between those two that has a lot of information on the plans. Department of Elder Affairs, your DCF, and the SSI related, the financial eligibility chart. Tracy showed one piece of that. That can be found at this link here. It gets republished every 3 months. And sometimes the numbers change, sometimes they don't. And here's your aging and disability resource centers that you can click on to find the place that you need to call to start the process for the wait list.
Sharon, can I just say, if they check the aging and disability resource centers, depends on where you are in the state, additional resources might be available for services in the home. So you would need to check with them as to, I know Broward County has an additional wait list. They have local money for people to get services in their home. So you would need to check with them for additional services.
Okay. And this is just a list of our webinars upcoming. Tracy's going to help me with the long-term care for ICP next month, and then how to complete a Medicaid application. Pooled trust we're going to do in August. So if you have any topics that you'd like us to cover, we're always open to your suggestions. Guardians, please email us your OPPG number because we have to submit that for you. So we do thank you once again, and I am going to now open it up to questions.
I see several here in the chat.
Yes.
And let me, do you want to take them or do you? Do you
Go,
want me
go
to start?
go ahead, Tracy, you can start.
Okay, I've got a comment about the wait list. It is based on need. That is true. I'm sorry, I didn't say that. It's based on that priority score and the person's need. It's not based on, I got on the wait list 2 years ago. I'm still waiting. If somebody comes in, if other people come in that have a more urgent need, then they will be placed as a priority above you. So it is a triage system. It's not first come, first serve. Are plans required for people with developmental disabilities? I am not sure. They used to not be, but that actually would be handled through, or should be handled through iBudget and APD, and they would be able to provide you with that information. Another question is about Meds AD. What is it? Can you explain what that is? Do you want to take that one, Sharon? You're smiling.
So Meds AD is actually community Medicaid. It is provides medical benefits for most people. It is for people that do not have Medicare. There are some exceptions to that. But if you've got somebody, actually, I think the SSI Medicaid is basically considered Meds AD, community Medicaid. It's SSI related Medicaid. But if, let's say, for instance, I have someone with that's on the Social Security disability insurance benefit, making $1,800 a month. They just got on it, and it takes 2 years before you can get Medicare. So what kind of Medicaid are they going to be able to get? They can apply for this community Medicaid, Meds AD, and get put on Meds AD until they get their Medicare, and then they would be switched over or reapply or apply for QMB, which is Medicare as a primary and Medicaid as the supplement or the secondary. Okay, so there are some other instances. I think on the home and community-based side, if your income is way below like the $900 and some limit, does this give you extra benefits, Tracy?
Well, when you have QMB covers the co-insure, anything that Medicare covers. Medicaid picks up the other 20%. Medicare pays 80%. Medicaid would pick up the other 20%. If you have Meds AD, it would cover some things maybe that Medicare does not cover. So you would get full Medicaid benefits.
Right. So.
And the income limit for Meds AD is really for people that are low income for the most part, and don't have Medicare.
Right. It's $997 a month right now. So, okay.
Okay. Can someone receive hospice and home and community-based services? I believe so. I believe that you can have several or a couple of Medicaid programs going at one time. So I believe you can, if you're in your home and you need hospice services, and HCBS would cover those things that hospice cannot provide, because they're just providing services based on your diagnosis, not other services. I've heard different amounts of what's allowable, what the allowable patient allowance is monthly for a nursing home and an ALF. What is the allowable allowance for an ALF? I believe the SNF is still $130. Can I get clarification? Yeah, the personal needs allowance is still $130 for someone living in a nursing home. And like I said, what's owed to the facility is your income less $130, and other allowable expenses. That is what your patient responsibility is. You're just allowed to keep that $130 for your personal needs. In an assisted living facility, you are supposed to be allowed 200 and
I think it was 30.
no, it's $227. However, like Sharon said, and I said, an assisted living facility is a little bit different. So they can charge you a different amount over what that notice of case action says, based on the contract that you sign with them. So sometimes people will have $227. Sometimes they'll have more to spend for their personal needs. Sometimes they'll have less. It just depends on what the facility's room and board rate is and how much of that you have to pay, or your family has to help you pay, or however that works out. So next question. Does the person over 65 have to wait until the state's disability determination before joining the pool trust?
So I'll take that. So no, they do not. In fact, if you're over 65, one of the questions on the joiner is, what are your disabilities? So, we always look at that, but you have to fund the trust before you apply to DCF. And then that's what starts the process of the disability determination for the pooled trust. And it's different than the CARES assessment. It's not the same. So if there's any question, you really need to work with your attorney on that. And of course, we at Aged have a lot of experience. So you want to make sure that you're going to meet that definition before joining, but you don't have to get qualified before that.
Okay, we've got another question that says, can you set the trust up with Payback to the heirs initially and then change it to no payback later?
And the answer to that is no. A trust is an irrevocable instrument, which means that it cannot be changed. So that is one thing that people need to pay attention to, is that when you're setting up a trust, you need to think hard about how you want to structure what happens after the death of the beneficiary. Do you want to name heirs? You can't change heirs. You can't say, oops, I don't want, to name this person anymore, or I decided, I want to eliminate them or whatever. No, you're not allowed to do that. It's irrevocable. So.
Okay. Will this recording be placed on your website? And
It will not be on our website, but you will get a link to it. So it's a private recording basically, and you will get a link to it in the email that Golda will be sending out to you for the webinar.
Okay, next question is, can you use the pool trust for over income instead of a QIT?
Yes, you can. A pooled trust can be used for income and or assets. There are, in a QIT, if you're only over the income limit and you're in a nursing home, a QIT works great if you have someone to manage it for you. Because one of the rules on a QIT is you can only basically generally just pay medical out of it. Okay, so in a pooled trust, you can use it for income, but it's a broader ability to pay other things other than just medical. As you can see in my example, we pay rent, we pay, we buy things for people, chairs, wheelchairs, recliners, art supplies, all sorts of stuff. So the answer is yes.
Okay, next question is off the subject of pool trust. Have you thought about doing a webinar on QIT?
So I would say to you that AGID does not manage QITs. An individual manages a QIT. So we don't have the expertise and the experience on managing QITs. So I would not want to do a webinar here from AGID on a QIT. We like to make sure that, we're focusing on what we're experienced with. That initial chart that I showed you on the different types has the general rules and the differences in them. And I'm happy to talk to people on the telephone.
Okay. The next one I will answer, how much do these plans vary? The MMA plans and the LTC plans the extra benefits don't really vary a whole lot. Remember, they're required to have the same benefits. Each plan is required to have the same benefits. They offer additional benefits, and some of them are things like art therapy or something like that. What's the one? Equine therapy. Just as an incentive to get you to join the plan, but all of the plans have the same basic required benefits. So in my opinion, they don't really vary a whole lot. I think it depends on how readily they interact with you or with the facility as to, what plan people stay with or which plan they like. So if one does this rescreening with a 701S screening form and the score is 46 or more with a rank of 5, would they be placed on the wait list to receive services? Okay, you're getting into something that we don't generally deal with. I know that, we don't score the people. We don't, that's all done by Cares. So, or not Cares, the Department of Elder Affairs. So I know that currently it is people that have been released from the wait list have been a priority score of 5. People below that have not been released from the wait list from what I know. And I think that's pretty much the way it's been the past year or so. So
yeah, and I mean, if you're scoring a 5, I mean, if you get a 5, you will be placed on the wait list. I mean, and you can actually now ask for, you're supposed to be sent a letter with what your score was, how you ranked 1 through 5. If you don't get that, you can call and ask for it, because it is important to be ranked a 5. A lot of people, if they answer the questions themselves in the interview, oh yes, I can do this, I can do that, when we know very well they can't do it. And so unfortunately, a lot of people that should score a 5 don't, so just keep that in mind when you're helping people with the interview process. You have to be honest, obviously, Yeah.
Right. It's been my experience that people don't want to let other people know that they're having difficulty with certain things.
Right.
And this is the one time you need to be absolutely honest with that interview. If you cannot do something, then they need to know that, because all of that adds to your score. Next question. Is there a way to pre-select a plan? I'm finding people who get auto-assigned with no notice and perhaps not to the plan they would want. So you have to change it for the next month. Is there a way to avoid it? What they are doing now, or they have been doing, I know from the past at least 6 months, if you are approved for Medicaid after the 15th of the month, they will auto assign you, because the plan actually starts the first of that next month. So they will automatically assign you. I guess people weren't getting or picking a plan and coverage was lacking. So they will auto assign you if you are approved after the 15th. There's no way, because you're not officially approved for Medicaid until DCF says you're approved. And then that information goes to the plans or to the choice counselors, where they can set you up to enroll in a plan. So there's no way to pre-select it right now. Next question. Is priority given to Florida residents? Does a person need to live in Florida for a certain time before they are able to get on the wait list? You have to be a Florida resident. So I don't know what priority you're talking about, but you have to be a Florida resident. And you don't need to live in Florida any particular amount of time. You just have to be in Florida, live in Florida to be able to get on the wait list. We've had people call, they're moving from New York and they want to get Medicaid. No, you have to live in Florida to get Florida Medicaid. Next question. Does emergencies such as being at risk of being homeless change the priority? Not necessarily. It's like I said, it's a triage system. It's really based on medical need. So that doesn't necessarily improve your score. However, that's not for me to say. I would say if something like that happens, call that agency and ask them for a reassessment, because they're the ones that are making the determination. And wouldn't you say that that would be the best thing to do, Sharon?
Yes, but also, if someone is at risk themselves, you can call the department or the elder abuse line. And, then DCF will go out and evaluate and do an assessment. And if someone's really at risk, I think that it used to be where they could get them to the top of the priority.
Right.
So if someone's really at risk, we actually had to do that with one of our clients, and had to call DCF out, to evaluate. So that's another option. It's hard to tell, because it used to be where, yes, you'd get the 45-day notice and all that, and you would think that would always get you off the wait list. Well, we've heard now that it doesn't always get you off the wait list, unfortunately. So.
Okay. Can a person over 65 who does not have disability be eligible for Medicaid?
Person over 65 who does not have, so in Florida, yes, if you're 65 or older, you can qualify for Medicaid. You don't have to meet the definition of disability. However, in order to use a pooled trust, you have to meet that disability determination. Okay, so there is a difference there. But yeah, Florida, you can get Medicaid if you're 65 or older, even if you don't have a disability. It's just your income and your asset limit.
Okay. Once you're screened, do you have a right to know your priority rank and ask for a copy of the screening? And you did answer that question.
Yeah, I don't know
Yes.
about a copy of the screening responses, but definitely the score.
Right. If someone is home with home and community-based services, do they have a share of costs to the managed care company at all, or do they keep the income and to pay for other home services, etc.? Generally, they do not have a share of cost if they are living in the home. I've seen it a couple times where they do have to pay the managed care company something, but it hasn't been a lot. And I'm not quite sure what that was based on. But generally they don't have a share of cost for the managed care services that are provided in their home.
And I know we have one more question. We're just a little bit after, but just run through that quickly if you could, Tracy.
Okay, Medicaid is the primary medical insurance once approved, correct? Well, it depends on if you have Medicare or not.
Yeah.
If you have Medicare, then Medicare is the primary and Medicaid would be the secondary for medical costs. What's the advantage and cost by having Medicare as well? Does Medicare automatically continue with Medicaid? Yes, Medicare continues when you have Medicaid. That's called being dual eligible. And if you are eligible for Medicare, you have to take it in order to receive Medicaid.
Yeah. Medicaid has a rule that says you have to apply for all benefits you're entitled to. Boom, you have to get your Medicare if you're entitled to it.
And we've got a whole bunch of other questions.
Oh, we do? Okay. So
Yeah.
let me just, is it true the asset limit would be $2,000? Yes, $2,000 one day of the month. That is correct. Okay. So yeah. And the last question I have is if a person is already receiving Medicare savings in which Medicaid is paying their premium, and now the person needs long-term care, does the person need to apply for Medicaid? Yes. So the Medicare savings programs are your SLIMB, your QI1, and your QMB. That's your Medicare with your Medicaid. That's medical Medicaid. Okay. So if they need the long-term care services for at-home care, or, the assisted living to help pay for the assisted living, then that's when you would apply for the home and community-based program. And if you get qualified for that, then basically you're going to get all those same benefits that your savings program gave you before. And that is part of one of the long-term, the benefit is your Medicare premium will be paid for you. So I hope that this was beneficial to everybody. And again, look for an email from us within the next week or so with your information for applying for credits and all. And thank you. Feel free to call us. We're happy to be a resource to the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Tracy, thank you.